In today's video, we're talking about your dream vacation to Paris, the once-in-a-lifetime experience that you always wanted to do and never got around, and how you can make that a reality. And I'm interviewing my friend Rose, who is a VIP concierge.
Hi, thank you.
So, yeah, explain a little bit who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, my name is Rose, and I've been living in Paris for about close to 12 years now. And I came here out of a great dream to live in France and speak French and do all things French. And I imagine that a lot of people want to come to Paris and experience Paris the way a Parisian does. One of the things that I set out to do with the VIP concierge service that I offer is to just help people arrange the trip of their dreams to Paris and beyond. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing the last 2 years, although I have been working in tourism for a lot longer than that.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak 4 languages. I speak English, I speak French, obviously. I speak Spanish, and I speak Italian. And these are all languages and that help me arrange things in all of these different countries in Western Europe. And I get requests for families that are coming to Paris. And, first of all, it's not really easy to travel with kids sometimes. We all know that. And so my job is to kind of make that the easiest trip possible for them. I invite them to tell me what their wish list is, to tell me what are their must-haves, things that they've only heard about, dreamed about. And then I ask about like the family dynamic, like who likes to do what, maybe someone likes to shop a lot. Maybe someone likes to eat at great restaurants and have great food while they're here. Maybe the kids would like to experience life as a Parisian kid. And so there's plenty of things to do all over Paris for that. That is absolutely something that I can help them with. We look at all the different personalities, put their wish list to the test, and look at the time frame that they're here in, and figure out how to have an itinerary where everybody gets what they want and no one's tired at the end of the day. They just want to do more.
I imagine that if someone is planning to organize that all from abroad without speaking French, and they still want everything, that is a huge mental load that you are taking off them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of my clients, they're referred to me, they're recommended to me. And one of the things that they hear about me is that I make everything easy, that I smooth everything out for them. They have jobs, they have families, they have things that they need to attend to. And planning a trip that is, it's a great deal of money that's being spent and time, you want it to be perfect, and so I'm offering this service to them so that they can, not worry, have a worry-free experience, not stress about reserving things in French, or just even reserving something that they've always wanted to do and not know how to deal with it when it's not available. So yeah, I mean, I do save them a lot of time and a lot of worry, and that way they could just relax and let a professional take care of the details.
Okay, and for Paris, what would be a typical thing that you would arrange, or maybe for a girls' trip to Paris, or?
Yes, we do get a lot of girls' getaways, girls' weekends, where women like to come with their friends and sometimes their daughters, and just have a time for them to do. Most of the time, they go shopping. That's really big, and I can give them a very curated list of places that I think they would love to buy clothes from and other items for the home. I also have 2 great personal shoppers. One of them is pretty much haut de gamme, as we say in French, luxury brands, and they can make appointments for you in all the best places. And we also have someone who is specializing more in French smaller designers, a more authentic experience, I think, as well. Shopping in the Marais, for example. This is a historic neighborhood in Paris, the 4th and the 3rd. And there's tons of French designers, one-of-a-kind kind of places where you can find things that no one else is wearing.
So if So if someone wanted that experience,
Mm.
how would you start the journey, or how would you?
Yes. Well, once they're referred to me or they find me otherwise, they get a call from me. I get, this is the personal touch. So I reach out to them at a time that's convenient for them, and I ask them a couple of questions. Of course, I ask them when are they coming, where would they like to stay if they haven't secured that already. Many of them will come and they'll rent an apartment as well in Paris, or some of them stay at hotels. Um, I'll ask them what their wish list is. What are the things that they think about when they are thinking about coming to Paris and beyond? Day trips, other countries that they'd like to visit during the same trip. And then I basically ask them about like their dynamic, like are they active or are they passive tourists? Active being like, let's do a street art tour on a bike in Paris for 2 hours. So that's pretty active. But then we also have people who are like, no, we're kind of more museum people and we'd like to see the Louvre, but the Louvre is so big and overwhelming. So I always recommend that they do a 2-hour highlight tour with a private guide in English. This is really appealing to people who even don't like to go to museums because it's very effective and very efficient way of seeing the best that the museum has to offer. But dynamics can also mean like, what are they eating? What kind of restaurants they like to go to. I mean, do they want to go to a Michelin star restaurant at least once or twice during their stay? Or are they just really happy going to a bistro or a cafe? Whatever makes them happy. When we're talking about families, we have to also take into consideration that kids just don't eat everything.
Yes.
But they'd be willing to try. That's also possible. So yeah, we choose restaurants with a mix of everyone's taste and personality.
What arrangements can you do that people couldn't do themselves? Where do you have the insider knowledge or insider connection?
Well, in terms that like when people think about coming to Paris, they think about food, first of all, and wine. Most of the restaurants in Paris that people want to try or that they hear about are, very famous, they're well known. And so they would be very difficult to get a booking in. So I think one of the things that I do is, sometimes I have a direct line to a reservation, or I'm a member of, like, for example, I'm a member of an association that only deals with certain restaurants. One restaurant that's really hard to get into is La Giraffe. La Giraffe is a restaurant that's, on Place Trocadero. And it's iconic, this Place Trocadero, because that's where you see the Eiffel Tower in the background. And this restaurant has a bullseye view to the Eiffel Tower and the river, just outside its windows. And their terrace in the summer is probably the hardest table you will ever have to try to get. And so I'm able to make those things happen. Another place that's really difficult to get into is Ralph's Cafe, as in Ralph Lauren. Yes, the American designer. He has a cafe here, and this is one of the most difficult places to get a reservation in. And everyone that I make a reservation for, why do they want to go to Ralph's Cafe? Because of their burger. It's got the best burger in Paris. And I've tasted it, so I can tell you it's true. So it's worth the wait, and it's definitely worth the hassle. So these are some of the things that people find difficult to do on their own, getting into the right restaurant. Otherwise, I think a lot of people are very intimidated by the fact that the Louvre is very often sold out. The Eiffel Tower, very difficult to get tickets unless you do this way in advance. And there's a mechanism, there's an algorithm that you have to follow in order to get tickets directly with the tower. They release tickets at midnight, like 2 months before. And so where am I at midnight? I'm up booking tickets to the Eiffel Tower. Otherwise, I do have some third-party vendors that I work with that are very reliable, and I'm able to always get a ticket to the tower for when someone wants that.
Okay, and what about accommodation?
Accommodation-wise, in Paris we have like so many different types of accommodations. We have apartments, we have all kinds of hotels. So again, the personality questions that I ask in the beginning, I think are really, really important because, you know, someone might like to stay in a five-star hotel, but maybe they would like something a little bit more discreet. Some people traveling with families really appreciate having an apartment with a kitchen and a washing machine. These are their wish lists. So thankfully, I do work with an agency that provides that. And so we collaborate on that very often, parisforrent.com. These guys are great to work with. They have apartments in all of the best arrondissements of all sizes, and they're usually traditional apartments, in older buildings, to kind of like fulfill that, you know, fantasy of staying in a beautiful Parisian apartment with a balcony. Then you have a, you know, a view of the city, maybe the tower. You know, these are the things that people dream about when they come to Paris, and maybe they've never been. But very often I get people who've been here a lot. And so they're just trying to change, you know, the neighborhood or change their experience a little bit.
What's the most surprising thing about Paris that most people experience if they come from the States?
The most surprising thing for most people that come from the States is that Parisians speak English. They do. I mean, if you're in the hospitality industry, it's absolutely something that is a must nowadays. The younger generation of Parisians as well are English speakers.
Yeah.
And so they may not speak English fluently, but they certainly can get things done. So I always say, yes, when people come here and they say, oh, I'm so surprised everybody speaks English. You know, maybe the follow-up question is, could I have done everything myself? Yes and no, because I still think that when you speak the language fluently and you're here, you definitely have more of a rapport with the locals, and it really does kind of oil the wheels, you know, and gets things done.
And I feel like if I was in a different country, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know what's out there. And yeah, having someone organize everything for me, that's such a dream.
Yeah, I mean, a typical itinerary runs about a week, and in that itinerary, there's some well-known things that people do, like go to the Eiffel Tower, go to the Louvre, perhaps. The Orsay is also very famous. But also, I've arranged a lot of customized, made-to-measure experiences for people, like cooking classes, you know, macaroon making classes. Yeah. We had a gentleman recently who wanted to have a photography workshop. You know, he was an amateur photographer, a very good one, I might say. And I paired him up with a friend of mine who is a professional photographer and has published books on photography, and they spent the whole day together. And he got a one-on-one lesson with this guy about light and images and, you know, how to take pictures, you know, more authentically rather than pose. So I think it was a great day for them. But most of the time, people ask me for like day trips. They want to go to Giverny to see Monet's house.
Yeah.
During the spring when all the flowers are out. It's a fantastic time to go. They always want to go to Versailles. You know, Versailles is a big popular one. But further afield, people want to go, of course, wine taste.
Oh,
Yeah, we're in France, so there's a lot of that. So, you
where
know,
do you send them?
well, I have a couple of, you know, a couple of operators that I work with that do wonderful one-day tours or multi-day tours into the Loire Valley, which is one of the closest places to go for wine tasting. See a castle, drink some wine. I think it's a good day.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, most people are looking for that authentic French experience. They want to experience France like a local,
Yeah.
even if they don't speak the language. So I think that's one of the things that I hear over and over again when people are like, I just, you know, I want to rent an apartment, I want to get my baguette, and I just want to feel like I live here.
Yeah.
And this is my normal life. Yeah, we're dream builders here in Paris. You know, we want you to think that everything that happens in movies actually does happen every day. But actually, it can.
Yeah.
It does.
Yes. I mean, I had breakfast at the Ritz today. So.
Yes, we had breakfast at the Ritz today. That doesn't happen every day.
So, thank you so much, Rose.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And if you feel like you want that experience, then there's all the contact information down below. And thank you. Bye.
Au revoir.